Hey there, sports fans. How are we? I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I hope you're well. Yeah, I'm back. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I figured the lads are getting a week off. Why don't I take 2 weeks off? Yeah, life kind of gets in the way, and that's what happened here. But as we're back to regular fixtures this week, I figured I'd come into the old man cave and talk some shit about rugby league, give you a review of officially the longest round in Super League history. And of course, they're about to get longer, but I don't think you'll get longer than that one. Round 20, guys. Welcome to the 10 Yards Back YouTube channel. I just found out that Kyle Amor has a podcast called Back 10, which I was, of course, kind of going for with 10 Yards Back, so I might have to change that coming up at some point. I don't think Kyle watches this, so I think we're safe for now. But yeah, welcome to 10 Yards Back. This is my review of round 20 of the 2025 Betfred Super League. I'm Jim, and it's officially the windiest day of the year, so if you hear creaking, that's just the quality construction of this outbuilding that I'm in currently, just swaying in the breeze, baby. All right, so round 20 happened. Longest round in history, spread over 2 weeks, so you'll know this already, and probably today, to be honest, I'm probably not going to dwell too much on the matches, but rather talk around the round, because it was significant, I thought. Split the round into 2 games. Now, if we look at what those games were and what the matchups were, you can kind of see really where the games were that you wanted to see. I mean, the first and the last game are appealing, but they're kind of appealing because you know the teams and you know there's history there and that they're actually quite good matchups. Other than that, I've said repeatedly throughout this season that, God, how do they keep doing it? How do they keep just 3v4, 5v6? It's always competitive, and somehow they managed to, on the 1 week that there was going to be a drought of rugby, just pull the worst matchups you'll ever see. Not just on the numbers as well, but the teams that are playing each other. I mean, Salford Hull KR, obviously that's gonna be a bit rubbish. Wigan versus Catalans, we've seen it. We've seen it for 3 years now. Catalans just can't beat Wigan. So it was a bit of a weird one. Now, going into this, going into the season, these games might have appeared more appealing than they are now. Maybe the teams. I mean, last year Huddersfield and LFC were right neck and neck, weren't they? But now here we are, 6-11. So it's a weird one. I think honestly, I like the idea of giving the lads a week off. I like it for 2 reasons. One, it changes HIAs. So if you get a couple of HIAs, you've got them back for the next round, and that was kind of interesting to me. Obviously, I'm a Saints fan, and we got all the HIAs the week before round 20, so round 18. So it didn't really help us, but other teams it would have. Injuries as well, give players a little bit longer to come back from the niggles that they've got. Just give them a rest, So I like that idea, but I think next year I would prefer business as usual, 6 games in the weekend, and just have a week off. In fact, you know what? Maybe instead of having a week off, get the bloody pundits to still show up to work, and we'll have like a round table show, something like something like that would be good. But it seems like unless there's a game on, Sky and the Rugby League don't really do anything on TV about rugby league. But round 20, it was split. I prefer it that way, to be honest, because all it really did was it extended the number of games I wasn't able to watch, because there's always that overlap. For what reason? There's 3 games on a weekend, and Warrington and Saints are playing at the same time, different games. Bit weird, but we'll crack on. All right, so my predictions going into the round were, and I'll look. I had Wakefield beating Leeds by 4 points. Wigan beating Catalans by, what was that, 16, 26 points. Hull FC battering Huddersfield. That's what I thought was going to happen. Hull KR, we're going to do well against Salford, but not humiliate them. Saints were going to beat Castleford, and Leigh were going to convincingly beat Warrington. So if we look at that first game then, so today I'm probably not, I'm going to go through what the results were, I'll do that at the end. First game, Leeds versus Wakefield. Now they kind of messed up with this one, I think, because it was the first game of what was, it was going to be a drought, wasn't it? There's not a lot on. And it was by far one of the best matches that they've been in a while. I mean, first off, just the visual of this game, just leading into it. You know what? Actually, you can go and you can watch the highlights of this. And if you watch the highlights just before kickoff, you want to be there. You want to be at this game. The crowd's good. The weather's good. It's packed. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's singing songs against each other. The crowd are into it. The players are into it. It looks like a good old time, baby. Now just look at the meters made. So I mean, Leeds here are quite conservative for Leeds meters. But you know, both right up there, 1,300 to 1,200 meters. That's the mark of a good game, really. I think all of the Leeds back five line made over 150 meters in that game. Lucky Miller made almost 200, and all of the Wakefield backline, they averaged 150 metres between them because of Lucky Miller's massive game there. And I think all the Wakefield back three made about 130 each, something like that. All of them getting above 100, which is just a great show. That what that tells me is like these teams do not want to hang around. If there's a kick, they are fucking bringing it back to the middle so that we can have a fight about it. It was good. It had everything. Like if you just look at that first try that Walmsley scored, and the first try that I think it was what's his name? Big fella. God, his name's just gone out of my head. It'll come back to me. But they were basically just the opposite ends of the try spectrum. Walmsley was a bit of a dance, a bit of skill on the lead up, and a bit of a dance. Like it drops the shoulder, gets his arm over, pops the try down to the corner. The Sam Lissoni try was just a good old fashioned rugby league prop try. There were fellas in the way. He didn't care. They didn't stand a chance. He just put it down, crashed over, put it down. So the game had everything. It had pace. It had excitement. There was a yellow card. It had everything. It was finally put to bed with the weirdest drop goal I've ever seen from Mason Lino, who appeared to just kick it at someone, but instead of hitting them, it went over the sticks. Go watch it if you haven't seen it, or even if you have seen it, go watch to see what I mean. It's like there were so many people in front of him, and he didn't hit anyone. It just went straight over the sticks. And I think he's done it before. I think when they beat Castleford earlier in the season with a drop goal. I think they did. The rivals round, the Good Friday round, and I'm pretty sure that drop kick was a similar effort. It was just like weird. It was never going over, but it somehow went over. So it's a very exciting game, very good game. I mean, these two teams are trouble. I think if I'm Leeds, I just need to have a word, with everyone and just say, right, listen, we're in fourth now. We used to be in third. What happened? Because I think it's like, so I went on about the backs making an averaging 150 metres each. I think the second rows made about 50, 60 metres each, and they play quite long minutes for those metres. So it's not, it kind of doesn't really show good intent, that really, for me. Do you think, who is it? Bentley and O'Donnell, is the second row? I can't remember, but I mean, Leeds will be back. I mean, they lost, what was it, 6-0 against Saints. They're losing here by 1 point. They're not out of it. They just need to course correct a little bit. And of course, Richard Agar's meeting as to whether he's going to carry on as the coach was a couple of days ago now, 4 days ago. So who knows? We'll find out what's going on there, I'm sure, on Friday when Jenna Brooks calls in. All right, game 2 of the weekend. So this was Catalans versus Wigan. So this was on Saturday this time. And if you look at the meters, the carries, the tackles, we're sort of slipping a bit now, aren't we? And I said earlier that we've kind of seen this game before. It's not really fair that, because I think Catalans actually did better here than I thought they were going to do, and I think they actually did do better than we think that they did. If you look at the defensive efforts that they made, particularly I think GAB, who I know I'm a fanboy of, but no one seems to be praising him for anything other than his goal kicking. But he's actually making quite a lot of tackles. There's not really much going on in this game, to be honest. I mean, it was just, thank God that the last 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, Catalans pulled the finger out of their arse and sort of went, oh, okay, yeah, shit, sorry, yeah, we're playing rugby, and got back into it, because I think in the last 20 minutes it was like 18-6 to Catalans. Before that, there's not really much going on. So two big takeaways in that game for me, or let's say 3. One is the youth of that game, and this was a recurring thing throughout this round. Young players really stepped up. I'm talking, I already said JB, I'm talking Eckersley and the lad who was in at half-back. What's his name? It escapes me. What's going on with me today? But those two fellas working together, what that did as well, putting him at standoff, freed Kieran up. So Kieran's been playing that position for a couple of weeks now, unsuccessfully with mixed. It's been a mixed bag, hasn't it, with Kieran there? But putting Kieran back where he belongs in the centres opened up the whole field for Wigan. Now the young lad, God, what the fuck? He got man of the match. I can't remember his name. He did a good job, but I think the most important thing was we had classic Adam Kieran centre play, and that just opened up the whole field. Really, really opened up that right edge where they were then able to score a couple of tries through Farrimond was the half-back, Eckersley on the wing. The other takeaway from the game is, what the fuck has happened to Cesar Rouget? He took his scrum cap off, but his mum was like, who are you? Like, what happened to him? I feel like he took his scrum cap off and he aged 30 years and got into 29 fights. So it wasn't a great game, but we got there, didn't we? Saturday afternoon rugby, what do you want? Have a beer, calm down, enjoy it. Okay, game 3, the final game of the weekend, the first weekend, part A, Hull FC versus Huddersfield. Now, I had this at 28-4 going in, assuming we were going to get a 2025 Hull FC performance. And what we got instead of that was a 2025 Hull FC home performance, which are not the same thing, are they? I mean, what is going on here? Another home loss. They've still only won one home game all season, but they're still the team outside of the top 6 with the best chance of getting into the playoffs. And if they get into the playoffs, I've still got a pretty good chance, but they've only won one home game. What a bizarre phenomenon that's happened there. Like, madness. Now, what's even crazier is if you look at these stats that are on the screen right now, Hull FC won the game as well. They made 300. Now, if these stats are right, these are from superleague.com or Our League. They're not always right, but if that's right, they ran 200 more metres than Huddersfield and 30 more carries. That's 5 more completed sets than Huddersfield and lost by 16 points. How mad is that? On their own pitch with their own fans screaming, and Huddersfield's 3 fans kicking off in the background. But I think what happened here really was Hull FC never really showed up. If you watch the game, which you still can do. I think it wasn't. This game was a bit more exciting, a bit more. It was a bit more enticing, a bit more gripping than the Catalans Wigan one, for whatever reason. I don't know, but there were good points. The Martin Litton relationship, young fellas again, like I said, but by and large, Hull FC never showed up. If you look at their shape throughout the whole game, their attacking shape was piss poor. Like, it was almost as if they'd made an agreement in the change rooms that they were always going to hold hands. Like, they were going to have a buddy the whole game, and they were just going to stand next to him the whole game. Because the attack was bunched, it was sort of slow, and it was what you would probably want from a defence, to be honest, the attack. The defence was similar. I mean, some of the breakthroughs... I'll just contextualise the defence for you. That Huddersfield wall, Hull FC wall that I've been talking about all season, praising. Tui Lolohea crashed over for a try. Tui Lolohea. It was Tui Lolohea versus Zach Hardacre. So, like, that doesn't happen. It never happens. Zach Hardacre is a defensive stalwart. He's a great fullback. And Tui Lolohea just ran through him. I think it was Zach Hardacre, but whoever it was. To be fair to Lolohea, he don't crash over, does he? It's not his job. But like I said, there were good takeaways. The Martin Litton friendship on the wing there was amazing. Lovely to see. And I think if I were to take away one thing from Huddersfield, and a bit weird saying this because he was a bit naughty during the game, Flanagan, George Flanagan Jr. Was epic as well. I say epic, it's not epic, is it? Because actually what he was doing was just a really good fucking job in defence. Like, if you if you go back and watch the game, he wears a scrum cap. He wears those Huddersfield colours scrum cap, so you can spot him a mile off. He's always looping back round the line, trying to fill in a gap, anticipating a gap, and filling it in. He's always in motion, George Flanagan, during this game. And I know there's... but I think that he was the best thing for Huddersfield. He scored a try. Yeah, great. But outside of that try, what he was doing defensively was fantastic. So good on you. Those 3 young lads in their first or second seasons, my hat's off to you. Okay, so we go over to week 2 of round 20 now. I'm not going to say too much about this one. I said I wasn't going to say too much about any of them, but now we're here, aren't we? Salford versus Hull KR. This is 1v12. It was never going to happen. Salford lost Chris Hill in the build-up to this game forever. He left the club, which is just sad, isn't it? That means there are now, 3 players left from the start of the season. And good on those 3, I mean, fair play to you lads. Ryan Briley, it means a lot to him. McDonald, I think, is it? Whatever. They got 2 tries against the current form team of the competition. So great work there. Hull KR just put on a clinic. Mikey Lewis, 8 try assists, two tries to his name as well, I think. All in all, was it 14 tries they got? It was nice to see Reece Martin kicking again, wasn't it? But I feel like we need to see more Reece Martin kicking. That's all I've got there. 72-12, Hull KR Salford. At home for Salford as well. Okay, game 2 or 3, depending on which one you watched first, I guess, because they were on at the same time for no reason whatsoever. Saints versus Castleford at the totally wicked stadium. I thought it was going to be 20 points to 4. Castleford's form of late has been reasonable. It's been mixed. You know, they beat Warrington a couple of weeks ago. Got travesty ripped off against Wigan 5 weeks ago. So they're not doing so bad. So I thought they would get something, but the way that Saints are going at the minute against these lower tier teams, I thought Saints would do it. Now, I didn't see 40-0 coming. I don't think anyone did. But the game itself, Saints were just all over them. They massively dominated in territory and possession. I think Saints ended up with like 72% possession or something like that, at least in the first half. A bit of strategy actually from Saints, which is rare to see. It's nice to see. Kicking to, is it Duquessis, the young winger who was, tracking back for the ball, just targeting him the whole time. It's been a while since I've seen a Saints aligned kicking strategy. I guess it was honestly because Moses Mbai was doing the kicking. There was, Lomax taking it back, taking it easy. Whitby was 18th man for some reason in this game, which is surprising. But the first half, there was a bit of shape, there was a bit of flair, there was a bit of putting stuff on, putting some nice plays on really in the first half. Second half, they just kept knocking on and just kept making errors, knocking on, giving up possession, and ultimately all the tries in the second half really were just single-man tries, just one-man tries, taking advantage of a gap or something like that, which is fine. It's good to do that, and they're exciting when that happens. But I reckon if you could watch a reel of all Saints tries this year, they're just relying too much on those one-man efforts. And I'm not even saying don't take them, because of course you're going to take them because it's a try. But I just think you need to put a bit more on Saints. Next up for Saints is Wakefield. It's going to be a different game. It's not going to be this game at all. Castleford, I don't know, man. Look, the league needs teams. We've got 14 teams coming up next year. Castleford's one of the senior ones. You need to be a bit better, I think, and that starts now. It should have started a while ago, but it absolutely starts now. Okay, closing out this long weekend, this long video that I'm doing. Leigh versus Warrington at the Leigh Sports Village. Now, the thing I loved about this game at the Leigh Sports Village was that I noticed it in the first half, and I was curious as to what was going to happen in the second half, and I had my suspicions. Whenever Leigh scored points, because they didn't score any points until 60, they didn't score any tries until 66 minutes, but they got a penalty in the first half. Whenever Leigh scored points, fireworks going off behind the sticks. Way. Whenever Warrington scored points, nothing, nada. Just a couple of Warrington fans screaming. And I thought, oh, cool, that's where the fireworks are then. I guess they'll do that next. They'll swap it next round. But nope, it was just whichever sticks Leigh were facing, that's where the fireworks were. So that is such a power move, isn't it? And it's such a Beaumont power move. Fair play to you, man. It's your club. You do what you want. But this game saved the weekend, really. I thought it was going to be 28-20, so I thought it was going to be a bit more comprehensive than it ended up being, but I knew it was going to be competitive. because Warrington were actually quite dominant in this game. Like I said, Castleford Leigh only scored a try on 66 minutes, which is not Leigh at all. Like this wasn't a very Leigh performance, to be honest. The dummy half activity was very low, like very few runs from dummy half, which means that they weren't getting that head of steam behind them. Now, the other side of that is that Warrington made something like 50 or 60 tackles from marker, which means that Warrington were right on them, during the game. So, I mean, the meters, really high tempo game. The meters are up there. Tackles and carry, they're both working very hard. But yeah, ultimately this saved this show. I kind of feel bad for Warrington, to be honest, because they've got 7 games left, and they had this one just ripped out of their grasp, didn't they, at the end? I feel bad for Warrington, but I can't feel too bad because I'm quite enjoying the rise of the Leopards at the minute. They haven't had easy games by any stretch in the past 5 weeks, but they've beat 1 through 4, and now Warrington, who are secret top 6 contenders, Leigh are doing really well. So I'm sort of a fan of like a legacy story. Highlight of the match, of course, was the Thewlis Dufty interaction try. I mean, you can look at that 2 ways. You can say, I mean, the commentators were saying, God, Adrian Lamb's going to be gutted at Leigh about that defensive effort, but I mean, Thewlis it's really well running. The shape of it, the dynamics of his body were perfect. Pulling his shoulders back, dropping his hips when he had to get people off him, and then the offload was so perfectly placed that I think probably if you did a photo finish of that offload, I would say the next millisecond when he drops the ball, that's when he gets tackled. And the ball lands perfectly in Dufty's breadbasket. So that was a highlight. That was a nice bit. Warrington, unfortunately, did not get the win there. Leigh take it. All right, let's have a look at the table then. So Saints go up to 4. Leeds are up to 5, not 4-5. All right, I said 4 earlier. I meant 5. The Wakey whole FC thing is it's getting further and further from our grasp, isn't it? Wakefield are cementing themselves right there. Now, I think if you look at who each team of theirs got to play, so I think Saints have got a slightly easier run on paper coming up, so they've got a better chance of ending up higher up than Leeds. However, the matchups, I said earlier about that just sort of inherent, ignore the stats. It's just the inherent stats. Leeds, the matchup wise, is probably a little bit more favourable. Now, the thing that I notice when I look at this, and you look at the weeks coming up, is no one's looking at Warrington for top 6. I think the only people looking at Warrington for the top 6 are the pundits and the commentators to make those games entertaining on paper. Like, oh yeah, God, they might do it. They could do it. But there's 7 games remaining. Warrington have got a really good chance at winning at least 4 of those games. Now their points difference is minus 75, so they're gonna have to do something about that. They have to really, really cement themselves there. But keep an eye on Warrington. I'm not saying they'll definitely do it, but they could. They might. Top points scorers coming out of the weekend. Max Jowett is still up there after that, low scoring, if we're being honest, but thriller of a game 2 weeks ago now. Max Jowett's still up there. Was it a conspiracy to keep Jowett up there? That's why Reece Martin was kicking? We'll never know, because Artem Morg is right there below him. Whitby's dropped off there because he was the 18th man. I don't really get it myself. Like Paul Bellins has really weird, really weird selection criteria sometimes that I'm not really entirely sure on what they are. I feel like sometimes he doesn't want egos to get too big, and so he pulls people back. So like Whitby, he did it to Robertson as well. He wasn't in charge of Wellesby's fate. He just pulls people back for some reason. I don't know. Whitby was 18th man, so he's dropped off the point scorers list. I tell you, he's not doing as well as I thought they would. Mark Sneed. Like, you look at the game the other night, and he scored a good, like some really good penalties, some nice, like entertaining rugby union style penalties. But he also missed 2 conversions. Like, normally, he's Sneed, right? He kicks. He makes the kick. That's what he does. It's his game. But he's only there at the minute. Warrington have scored quite a fair few tries that he could have converted, and he didn't. No, I'm not slagging him off. He's better than me, but, bear that in mind. Try scorers. Mikey Lewis up there. Max Jowett. Now, I collect my stats weekly, and I collate them myself. I put them together. I do my nerd stuff in my spare time. I've got Max Jowett on 17 tries. Super League has only got him at 11 tries. I don't think that's the case. I trust my numbers more than theirs. But if it is the case that Jowett's on 17 and Mikey Lewis is on 18, like, why aren't more people talking about Jowett? It's because of the assists. Because not only has Mikey Lewis got 18 tries, but he's also got 23 assists. We kind of went through the other week about how the Wigan players that are in the top 10 try scorers, that was back when Bevan French was in there, not only do they have loads of tries, but they also have loads of assists, so that it's kind of a synergy there. But this top try scorers, it's exciting. It's a dynamic field, isn't it? It's changing every week. There are names in and out of it every week, and that's just a comment on a great league so far. So there it is, round 20 finally over. This week we're back to standard regular service with 6 games in the weekend, which I prefer, if I'm honest. I'm going to have limited time to watch these things at the weekend because Saturday is mine and my son's birthday on the same day, so we'll be eating cake, jelly and ice cream probably all day. But hoping to catch some games at some point. Right, guys, I'm going to call it a day there. For not talking too much about the games, I sure talked about those games, didn't I? So, have a good week. I'll see you later on.